It's this simple to me. Carmelo Anthony and Paul George have been overrated this year in terms of what Russell Westbrook has at his disposal. The fact of the matter is I believe in Paul George, and I believe that he is a star in this league for years to come. He's only shooting, about 42% from the field right now, all right? He's not shooting that great from the field. There have been big moments against teams on nationally televised games where he hasn't shown up and do what we know he can do. In the case of Carmelo Anthony, this is a guy that's 33 years of age, and in all honesty, my brother, I love him, he's looked it. He's looked it. He hasn't looked in the greatest shape. He hasn't looked like the number one option that he was for the New York Knicks for years. I have been a huge fan of Carmelo Anthony throughout his entire career, and I still am. I'm waiting for the moment where Carmelo Anthony is given the ball at crunch time in a postseason game with a playoff or a series or a championship on the line, because I believe he has the kind of heart that will show up. But the reality is that he's had to take a relegated role with Oklahoma City. It has been an adjustment for him. It's been an adjustment for Billy Donovan. You have a potpourri of issues that they have to address. There's no question about it. But in the end, what it comes down to is we look at this team, their 47-34 record, how they've been up and down this year, and instead of appreciating the greatness of Russell Westbrook carrying this team on its back the way that we should, what we've done is instead we've looked at Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, and we said they are not what they were supposed to be. We expected more from them. And that's how we're looking at them right now, because if
whose job is it to make sure that the team functions to the best of its ability? It's the point guard, Stephen A.
And the
Westbrook
coach.
is the
and
point
the coach.
guard.
And the coach.
Okay, but but in the end, in the end, if LeBron's team underperforms, who are they going to point to? Ty Lue or LeBron James? Westbrook is putting up LeBron numbers, maybe better, at least the counting numbers, right? You almost average a triple-double in consecutive seasons. What do I always say about Westbrook? His issue is, in crunch time, he pulls too hard. He wants it too much. And so he monopolizes the ball. He needs to let go of the reins a little bit.
That's
if Paul George and Carmelo Anthony are underperforming, that's on Westbrook.
And they've been wide open, and they've missed shots. I've seen Russell Westbrook give them the ball, and they haven't converted. That's a fact.
So that means you don't give them the ball anymore?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he did give them the ball, and they didn't convert. Who said they didn't get the ball?
That's the reason they're – But Stephen A., if guys aren't in rhythm, if they're not getting enough touches throughout the game, if one guy's usage rate is way too high, that affects other players. The same way you give James Harden credit for the way – and I think it is a point. Remember, I said that's evidence on Harden's side for the case for MVP. That he has actually, that team never loses when they're healthy, right? Even if he does have a great supporting cast. He is certainly not dragging them down and obviously elevating everybody. So Harden's been able to do that. Sure, some of that's on D'Antoni. Westbrook also has a very good supporting cast. It's less perfectly suited for him maybe, but it's an excellent supporting cast. It is on him and Billy Donovan to figure out how to optimize it. And they have not done it. He's the highest usage player, and he's the point guard.
Where were you at the beginning of this year and halfway into the season when they were all hovering around 17, 18, 19 shots per game? They were getting the ball then. They weren't winning then either. And so ultimately now it's up. Russell Westbrook shoot 21 shots a game. Paul George is at 16. Carmelo is at 15. So they've dropped off a little bit in terms of their shot attempts. But this man has given them the ball plenty of times. And plenty of times they have not converted. That's just a fact.
Right. It's not just about shots, though. It's about the rhythm of the game. It's about the fact that listen, it shouldn't be exactly even. Because you could see when that happened, when Paul George and Carmelo first got there, you could see Westbrook was being overly deferential. I'm not saying how many shots each player should get. I'm saying, Russell Westbrook, it's on you to figure it out. You're clearly the best player on the team. You're an all-time great talent. We have seen Russell Westbrook and KD, for that matter,
George accountable for missing shots. You're saying that they missed shots because they weren't in rhythm because Russell Westbrook didn't give them the ball?
Let me ask you this. Why do you think the Thunder couldn't get by the Warriors in that Game 7, in that series?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this team.
I am,
Melo and Paul George weren't on the team. They weren't on the team.
It's a persistent team with Russell Westbrook. When he feels like the team needs more, he pulls too hard. When he needs to be more of a point guard, he turns into more of an attacker, a killer. That's his mentality.
But
That's why he's my favorite player. But he has yet to find the balance.
I'm saying to you, I understand that. We've all talked about Russ for years over there in that regard, which is why it shocked me the amount of times I have seen him give Carmelo the ball, give Paul George the ball, and Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, who usually come through in moments like that, fail to do so.
Why do you think they're not? Why do you think they're not? Just bad luck, or there's something off about the chemistry of the team?
Okay.
We got to agree to disagree on that one. But Russell Westbrook has the potential to be the first player ever to average triple-doubles in multiple seasons.